Welcome to the OFX podcast. I'm Dave Claxton. Along with me, as always, is the message malfunctioning miler, Bethany
Ah.
McChesney. Little
Yeah,
problems with the text.
technology. Technology. I
I
know.
thought I just assumed you were busy today. I thought you must have been very busy today, and
Even
I'm
if
like, that's
I'm
cool.
busy, have I ever not texted you back?
No, it's pretty rare. It's pretty rare, but sometimes things happen, right?
Yeah, yeah, true.
It's not like I was like, oh, that bitch, she didn't instantly respond.
I am pretty good about messages though,
You're pretty
but yeah.
solid, pretty solid, pretty solid. So if
Mhm.
you ever want Bethany to respond, just message her, everybody, about anything, whatever. I'll give you her home phone number after. I'm going to post it down here.
Oh, my number. I know. It used to be posted outside my business, so my number is very public.
Did you really? That's brave.
Well, I did when before I had a website, I didn't really know how better to get people to get information. So,
That's cool. That's cool.
yeah.
We will acknowledge today we're recording and it is, we were actually talking about before, it's a holiday today, sort of called Truth and Reconciliation Day for the Canadian
Yeah, I
government.
don't think they would call it a holiday. I think they call it a like a day of memorial or
Okay.
to honor. I don't know. I don't, yeah.
It's a
What do they?
very misunderstood day where the Canadian government apologizes for atrocities they committed by taking a day off. Anyway, moving right along.
Yeah, we're gonna leave that one.
Um, all right. How's your first off, how's your week?
My week has been good. This week is all about Hyrox right now. So we've had last minute prep workouts. We've had, just ongoing talks about, people panicking and going out and buying shoes and figuring out what gels they like. And like it's Hyrox right now with Toronto being this weekend. So
And the map come out, and the map looks oddly logical.
yeah, looks
Like
great.
it's like a rectangle with the zones in the proper order.
Except wobbles in the middle, which is
Yeah, but
fine.
they do that for ta-da.
Oh yeah, and the stands are right there. It's totally fine.
Yeah,
I
I'm okay
mean,
with that.
yeah, yeah,
The only thing they don't do, and this happens a lot, is for some reason it should be the easiest thing in the world to do. They don't put how many laps.
yes. So I think it's going to be a two-lapper
I
based
agree.
on, yeah, it typically is. I find when there's like weird configurations and they're trying to like weasel things into small spaces, it ends up being a little bit more, but this one is so smoothly laid out that I'm assuming it's a two-lapper.
It looks like to me, from where the start location is, you'd be just under 2 laps for the first one, and then where the out and then the in are, you would be just over 2 laps for every other one.
Yeah,
That's what I'm guessing. I mean, I
yeah,
think I'm right, but if I'm wrong, don't yell at me because I am guessing.
yeah. Yeah,
But
and we just saw the map this afternoon, so we haven't heard any more information.
yeah, it though it looks good. It looks. I just love the 1, 2, 3, 4. It just. I have no idea why that has never been such a regular thing. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you noticed or heard about this, but somewhere overseas, they're going to have a one loop, a 1 lap course.
Oh,
So likely to be damn fast.
yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
said
I also, the Toronto course is left-hand turns.
NASCAR
Track.
track. And then I'm trying to think. Chicago was right hand.
Yeah.
New
Everyone I've done
York,
is right-hand turns.
New York was left hand turns.
Yeah.
Yeah, New York was left hand turns. So
Hmm.
so this is break the time. Yeah, that's pretty good. Did you see some of the names that will be there for the men? Some interesting names.
I don't know the men that are going to be there.
Well, we have some good men's like good men like David Makita, Isaac Sanderson, Samuel Libert. Uh, we also have Ryan Atkins making his debut,
I saw that.
and Sam Cornway from the CrossFit Games will be running as well.
Oh, okay.
So that'll be a couple of interesting ones.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know that they're all in the same way, but I don't know that they've organized this so that there's a big go-to wave or not. So that might be a little disappointing. There's a lot of women. Your women's field looks pretty cool too.
So, and I think we're gonna have two heats of like the top women.
Okay. Do you,
Um, so it would be, so we register and it's anyone going for under 75.
okay.
And I am in a different heat than my training partner who's much younger. So I think they're having a younger girls and the older girls.
So this question came up actually. I just recorded the live show just before this, and this question came up, was asked of me. Of the list of women going, is Bethany the top runner of the list of the ones we had?
They
And
asked that
I,
question specifically?
yeah, Matt asked that question.
Oh,
He's like, would Beth be like the fastest just runner if we're just doing a runner thing? And I looked at it and I thought, well, I know Tara has really upped her speed game lately. And I said, other than Tara, and I don't even know that. I said probably right up there. I think that would be the one. If we're just talking like
I would
a
probably have
straight
the fastest
three to
personal
five
best.
K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like right now, I think Tara would probably beat me in a flat 5K.
Yeah.
But I would probably have the fastest personal best. I mean, I don't know. Amy Belavac was going. I don't know,
Yeah, she's
what
pretty
her
good.
personal bests have been in her past. Um, yeah, maybe. But I mean, I don't run as fast after I push a 300-pound sled.
But I would also say you're probably at the strongest you've ever been, aren't you? Right up there.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that should help. I think it
I'm
would be interesting.
probably the most like focused on it than I've been doing a high
Yeah.
rock, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
We've been having this gym reno and a bit of the training focus got a little bit thrown out the window. So I have kind of had to shift my expectations a bit and just be like, you know what, we're gonna do it with what we
Should I
have.
start writing down these excuses now? Should I jot them all down?
Hey, I wasn't even gonna say it, but yeah, but I mean, at the same time, sometimes taking a little bit steps back is maybe what your body needed, and maybe sometimes you end up better than you expected. But I mean, I've definitely had to have a little bit more treatment this month for my back, just from the renos. And I mean, but like my body feels fine. There's just been like I haven't been as focused on it as I maybe would have wanted to be at this point. But I mean, I feel great, so it's fine. And we we've had just such a good group that's been training for it. So the excitement around it has been pretty awesome. We do have a girl coming in who I think is going to shock a lot of people. Um,
Nice.
yeah. So Lindsay Bessigato, and she's a CrossFitter who can seriously run. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she got into that top mix too. So there's a young girl that you don't know, and she looks like a CrossFitter.
There you go. There
Yeah.
you go. I like that. Um, the other thing we were talking about too, and I'll ask you this, and then rather than do the whole pause thing and invite our guest, I'm just going to do it while Bethany talks. So, of the people you know going, do you think any of them can muster a time here in Toronto that would potentially help them get into the, let's say, qualifications for the majors? Now, go, and I'm going to do invitations.
So, well, we're talking like a 58-minute.
Yeah, that would be for the men, but then for the women, we'd probably need something around a 102 or something like that.
Yeah, like I think so. I think we could see one or two women get in there. Like we have some big names going, and Emma Lawson's going. And again, I think she's not necessarily been a focus of hers. She's gonna do it. She's gonna do great. Is she gonna do a 102, 103? I don't know. I don't know how much she's been running. Like I think our girl Lindsay, if she puts together a good race, she could go sub 65. Like, um, I think there'll be some people that are very close. Yeah, and I think this course layout from just the simplicity of it could make that good. And I know it sounds goofy, but like I think left-hand turns are faster, but maybe that's just me coming from the track world because I find right-hand turns kind of painful.
No, this is where I'm going to back you up. So, like, you think about most people, predominantly, the larger majority of the population is right-handed, right? And then I think about, and maybe this will play into your left-hand turn, ice skating. most of us naturally turn left better when we're
I
right-handed.
do, 100%.
Exactly, right? We have that dominant side.
Yeah,
And let's be honest, there's a lot of hockey players in Canada. Maybe some of them are going to turn faster
there
because
you
it's
go.
left, right? It could happen. We're doing our crossovers into the corners,
Yeah, yeah.
actually gaining speed through the corner. That's what we're
Yeah,
going to do. We're going to
yeah.
push off. I actually thought, though, that let's say, for argument's sake, Sam or Isaac clock in a 57, which is
Hmm.
not that far-fetched. That
Yeah.
automatically would put them into the mix. By the way, our guest is coming in, and we're just going to jump her right in. And if I have to edit something, I have to edit something. So we're figuring we're just having you jump in mid-conversation, and this is stuff that doesn't even involve you, but you'll have fun with it. So I was just saying, because we got Hyrox coming in Toronto this weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying that who did we think that maybe could pop a race that would help them jump up into the majors elite 15-ish category? And I said, I think Isaac Sanderson and Samuel E. Bear are two that could maybe do that if they ran like a 57 or something like that. Do you know of any of the people going up here for this? Or
No, I don't.
okay, well, I think the more important question is why are you not?
I know. I should have, but it like sold out and then they opened more tickets and I panicked and then it was just too stressful. It's like there's actually somebody from my gym going and I'm so excited because it's finally like somebody that I've influenced to go and they're going to try it for the first time. So that should be really exciting.
We
Nice.
couldn't get you. We couldn't get you. What if like we threw in a pizza? We'll give you a pizza if you come.
Isn't it like in 4 days?
Yeah.
Five. Let's not exaggerate.
A travel day. But no, I'm actually going to a conference this weekend.
This is the problem when you're good at something is people expect you to do it.
Well, my patients expect me to do things too.
Yes, exactly, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So if you would just like really screw up somebody's leg really bad, no one would ever ask you to do it again, and it wouldn't be a problem. You could go to all the high rocks you want.
Well, that sounds like a great plan.
I'm
Yeah.
nothing but foresight.
Alandra is like the ultimate double lifer.
Well, thank you.
Really like amazing and two very different things. So
Oh, thank you.
I just kind of live in one world.
I do good in two
I don't know if
things.
like feeling a double life feels good in some regards too.
Oh, I bet. Even just being able to kind of disconnect from one world and then go into the other and
Yeah, it's almost like awkward when patients ask me about like my competitions and stuff. I'm like, oh, like do I talk about it like from an athlete perspective or like from your doctor telling you whether you should exercise?
I'm more impressed that you seem to actually get out and have downtime and have fun. That's what surprises me more because I know you work out like a ton, you work like a ton, but I'm still seeing you out like biking in the mountains and eating ice cream and having a good life. And that's the incredible part is that you can
It's all
about
about
find time to
balance,
have a
right?
good life.
Yeah, I mean that makes everything sustainable.
Yeah. I don't know. It's the no kids. Bethany's got kids at home. Her life sucks. Mine are gone, so everything's fantastic.
it's just
Yeah.
busy.
All right. The reason, and we'll talk about other stuff later on, but the reason we wanted to talk to you is because you put out a post there the one day, and it caught my attention because we've talked about it a few times on here. And it's been a subject with Hyrox and whatnot. And even though we know you're not an expert in this field, and just because it says doctor in front of your name doesn't mean you know everything.
Thank you.
Now it just sounds like I'm coming down on her. It's like, but so you had a post, and it was essentially TRT and Achilles injuries.
Yeah.
All right, and I'll just let you go from there.
Okay.
Just run. Or do you want a specific? We'll give you a
Well,
specific.
I think the reason this interests us is because we've been talking, and I mean, Tara did on a podcast too about the benefits of hormone replacement therapy with aging athletes and even just people for their general well-being. And I have never heard a connection with something like hormone replacement therapy and something like an Achilles rupture. So I think what I would like to be clarified is specifically is, are we talking hormone replacement therapy that a lot of people are getting more and more into, or are we talking like higher levels of
Anabolic
testosterone?
steroids.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Massive
or,
juicing.
or steroid level, yeah. And funny enough, my dad just blew his Achilles last week. He does not take any
Test
any
him.
sort of hormone replacement. So yeah, completely blew his Achilles. So it was kind of ironic too.
Oh, geez. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope he has a speedy recovery. Yeah, I mean, I think it's been well known for a long time that anabolic steroids can increase your risk for tendon ruptures, like rotator cuff injuries, and specifically Achilles tendon ruptures. And like the reason behind that is because the muscle, at least the elucidated reason behind that is because the muscle gets stronger and the tendon can't adapt like in that time frame. So somebody's gonna like step down or jump or something like that, and then like the muscle just fires and the tendon can't withstand that force. I think that, well, and like you alluded to, the TRT is becoming more and more popular. Like we're seeing clinics popping up all over the place. I don't know about like where you guys are, but like
Yeah.
driving billboards, like forever young things, and like
Yeah.
just get ads about it all over the place. Um, and so that's more for like TRT, which is supposed to be for people who have low testosterone and are who are symptomatic. So they're, feeling fatigued, depressed, difficulty sleeping, gaining weight, low libido, like all of those symptoms with low testosterone, with the goal being to get them to like a physiologic level. And again, not an expert, but from like what I'm seeing and what I'm reading about from like a lot of these clinics is they kind of have like a cookie cutter model where they'll do some like lab tests on you. They're like, okay, yeah, you could qualify for like low testosterone. And then they have their like, cookie cutter thing, like this is what you get. When like in reality, there's a lot of different causes for low testosterone. And perhaps those should be tailored. Again, I'm not an expert. And if you're not tailoring these specifically to the individual, you may end up with, super physiologic testosterone levels. So, higher levels than they should be, which in theory could possibly put somebody at a higher risk for Achilles tendon ruptures, or other similar injuries. Because just in general, testosterone itself causes tendon tightness, and it's not doesn't respond to other hormones that are like relaxing. So just like testosterone in and of itself increases your risk for tendon ruptures. By men rupture their Achilles way more than women. So it's kind of just like a lot of information, but that's kind of like where it's coming from with the TRT. And I think that study, I printed it out before I came in, let's see if I have it. Yeah, like they didn't measure specifically. So this was a matched retrospective analysis. So they didn't like take a study group and like give them TRT and then kind of see down the road, oh, did they rupture their Achilles? They just kind of looked at people that had undergone TRT, did they rupture it, and saw the relationship there.
Was there an age group of people that they used in the study, or was it a range, or like the typical like?
So I'm not as good as like some of the people like Huberman or Peter Attia that have these like memorized, but I do have it printed out right in front of me. So I can look.
That's right. The fact you knew those people's names floored me because I don't know who those people are.
I
So yeah.
sent you podcasts of Huberman.
I know. I'm just messing. Look, if you're going to be smart today, I have to play the idiot. So like,
yeah. So the ages for their patients were 35 to 75.
that's a fairly wide range.
It is, but I also feel like those are, definitely the ranges where men start dabbling in that area.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's interesting to me, obviously, because I am that area, right? But my question, and I'll ask, I mean, again, this is not really your realm, but when you say, they people do it for, low libido, weight gain, all that stuff, isn't that just kind of natural aging?
I mean, it definitely can be, but then what is natural aging? Like,
I don't know.
isn't low, like our hormones changing as we age? Isn't that natural aging? So then aren't we just going against that by, replacing it and trying like maintain these levels? Because for men, your testosterone peaks in your 20s and then it just gradually declines after that. And that's normal. Like that's what happens if there's no interventions. Of course, there can be, specific disorders like hypogonadism where somebody's not able to produce these hormones, or, tumors, whatever, what have you. But yeah, like natural aging, that's kind of just what happens.
Mm-hmm. I think though, when we talk about depression, I think if you're going to explore the reason why someone is really struggling with depression and it's kind of on the list of things, then I do understand that being not necessarily like a normal part of aging is to end up with like super fatigued and depressed. So if I was a doctor, I would probably rather prescribe someone TRT than an antidepressant.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I don't know a lot about antidepressants, but that seems like the lesser of two evils to me. Plus, the bonus of getting jacked up.
That's not supposed to be the point.
Like not
More
depressed, and I'm a
but it just brings you
freaking
to a
superstar
natural
now.
level. You don't get jacked as soon as you start taking testosterone to just
What's
be
the
like
point?
natural.
I'm kidding.
How could you be depressed if you're super jacked?
Exactly. Look, I've seen a lot of magazines. All those guys look happy. All right. It's all in the evidence there. That's all the evidence. Every one of them smiling, jacked up, sitting beside their whatever Range Rover. I don't know. No, but I do see what Bethany's saying there is like when you think about the antidepressants and the side effects from antidepressants and all that other stuff. I mean, if it came down to the two options, it seems like a lesser of two evils to me. And I shouldn't even say lesser of two evils. It just seems like, but I don't, again, you might know more of the repercussions and side effects than I do, considering I know nothing.
Well, I would hope so a little bit. I think that's actually like really interesting. That you would prefer going like a TRT route versus like a SSRI, which are, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors that are most commonly prescribed for depression, depending on, patients' medication tolerances and what they, are interested in taking. Because I almost feel like from my perspective, seeing like all of the effects that hormones have on the body, like things that aren't even necessarily involved, that scares me way more than like an SSRI, which we know that, it increases your serotonin by, preventing the reuptake of it. And I think that the side effects are pretty well known. Like those have been around for a long time. And I'm not like, leaning one way or another. I just think it's really interesting, kind of your perspective. Whereas like
I could be
TT,
biased because I've been on an SSRI and I felt awful.
uh-huh. Yeah. And everybody, of course, has different experiences. And of course, there's a bunch of different things out there. But so some of the side effects for TRT can be like cardiovascular events, like having a heart attack or
That sounds like a bad side effect.
yeah, or blood clots, and there's some more contraindications for it.
So would that be a case from like, and I guess those side effects, are they likely to be a common thing in people using it properly, or would that be more from a misabuse of it or misuse or abuse?
So not necessarily my area, um, but my best guess would be people that are more susceptible, just maybe genetically, that are taking these, a TRT could just have that type of event, even if they're taking it as prescribed.
All right. So this is one that I've heard, um, is that once you start taking TRT, and for example, me, if I start taking TRT next week as a guy who's almost 50, I'm there. I'm not coming back off it. And is that a reality statement kind of thing, or because
Mhm.
what I'm hearing is that my body would stop producing testosterone on its own, so I have to continue to get in from an outside source essentially.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so also not my specific area, but you can, wean off of testosterone after you've been taking it. But of course, that should be supervised by a physician. And if you're, at a very well regulated, dosage when you're taking it, you shouldn't be at the levels where your body loses the ability to create its own testosterone. Like that's more at like super physiologic levels from my like I think for like extended periods of time, like people that are abusing anabolic steroids. Of course, your symptoms will return once you stop taking it. It's not like a cure and like, okay, I don't need to take this anymore. So that's another thing to keep in mind.
So would like hormone replacement therapy for women, do you think have a similar effect with like the tendons and causing possible issues that way?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So the
Yeah.
hormones that women would be taking for HRT, which is typically an estrogen and a progesterone, those are actually like good for tendons. So those like promote elasticity of tendons. So it would actually decrease the risk for tendon rupture from my perspective. Of course, you might see, different studies saying different things, but just because like if you kind of think of like testosterone and estrogen as like, and not antagonizing like in the medical sense, but they're just kind of like opposite. So when women like lose their estrogen, they do become at higher risk for musculoskeletal types of injuries, overuse, like tendinitis, plantar fasciitis, all of those things. I see so many women, yeah, like 50s, 60s, all of a sudden having these like ankle sprains and tendon issues that they didn't have it all before.
So in that sense, a woman taking hormone replacement therapy with estrogen and progesterone to help maintain muscle mass, you would consider that to be beneficial for them though, despite it being like you've said, that's not natural parts of aging is to lose that. So then for a woman to be able to maintain that, you would still recommend that then for a woman.
So I'm definitely not recommending one or the other. I think a lot of it's like a personal decision for people. I think that, I mean, I guess I didn't really think about it from that perspective. I have not gone through menopause, so I don't really know the symptoms, but I have heard from women where things are, extremely difficult and it really impacts, their quality of life. I think that like the goal of just maintaining a level of estrogen is to, minimize those symptoms. I don't know if necessarily men's approach with TRT is to do that. I think that with like what I see in the clinics and like the advertising and everything, it just seems very, very different to me. Like that's very commercial, whereas hormone replacement therapy for women is like very medical. Like I don't think that they're going to like HRT clinics and getting supplements. I might be wrong, but
I no, I get what you're saying. One seems to be targeted towards yeah, it's almost a sales pitch, whereas the other one definitely feels more medical. Like I know for me, I see the testosterone stuff all the time, even if it's not stuff that really works, but like you get stuff on TV or wherever on the internet, and it's like, advertising all these great effects with some pills that you don't even know if they were even real or not. But you're right, you don't see that with women's hormone replacement therapy. They're not pushing it that way. So
I don't even really see it advertised.
no, exactly. So like it's almost like the TRT almost. And I'm not saying that this is what it's for, because like we talk about depression and some guys use it for stuff like that and legitimately need it, or need testosterone therapy. But for other guys, it seems to almost be like an ego thing. Like they're advertising to the ego for people to take it. And I think probably it's more the products that actually aren't worth a shit that are actually doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Here's a question for you. So this is sport related. Do you think, for example, in an over 50, or let's just say over 50 Hyrox, DEKA Fit, whatever, that men over 50 and stuff should be allowed to compete while on TRT? This is an ethical sport question. I know. See, so you can't say this is my area of expertise because you're in sports. You're done. You're in there.
Uh-huh. I mean, I think that it's a really complicated situation because, like you said, like there's people that are going into TRT for potentially different reasons. So I think like at baseline, it's kind of a question of like, is this being monitored throughout how like what they're supplementing? Or is this something like, oh yeah, I'm on TRT and then I just qualify for like, whatever that category is. I think if it is monitored like potentially throughout and they're never like super physiologic, then, I guess I would want to see some further studies to see if that does affect their performance at all.
Well, is that possible? Like, again, I'm a neophyte. I'm completely a noob at this, but can like we talked about this before when we asked the question of when they talk about testing, is there like a normal baseline level that say an average man should be at, and then could theoretically they have like, okay, that's our level, so you can take TRT to bring you to that level, but not above it. And is that a possible thing to test for?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I think they should do.
what they should do. Well,
Well,
here's
and
the question.
yeah, I think part of it too is our like everybody on it isn't necessarily having to have gone to their doctor and tested if they're actually low, or they're just like, well, I'm at this age and it's kind of accepted that this is what men do now. And yeah, I am feeling kind of tired and I would like a little bit of help recovering. So they just, they order it on their own and or from someone at the gym or whatever. And then they start like self-diagnosing themselves as having low testosterone. So yes, I need to take it. Or did they go to their doctor and take the proper approach and actually test their levels and see, am I low? Is it something that would help me based on my symptoms? And then, they have an actual prescription for it. So there is kind of two camps too with people that would be taking it. So and then in a lot of sports too, where they do drug testing, then you have an actual therapeutic medical document that says that it was prescribed to you for reasons by your doctor. So there's kind of differences too with people that would be taking it.
Are you telling me that guy at the gym isn't a doctor? He looked pretty legit to me. He had a bag and everything. Yeah.
Sometimes the people at the gym are doctors.
They can be done. Alandra goes to a gym.
There's other doctors at my gym too.
Mm-hmm.
Very much the
well, another like interesting thing, and I don't know if this would make a difference at all, but so like every guy's gonna have like they have a range of what the testosterone is, like the low range and then the high range. And so what if a guy normally would be at the lower end, but then he's, and then he has a diagnosis of low testosterone, so then he starts taking it, and then at the higher end, like what impact would that have on his, physiology and his performance when he's still within the normal range, but it's just not what his body was meant to have. But who knows what meant to? I don't know.
Yeah.
Who defined what it was meant to have?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I could when we talked about it before, and I've said if I wasn't competing, I would be tempted, right? As I would be tempted to look into it anyway. At least I'd go get tested and see, But right now, I don't even want to go get tested because I don't want to find out that I could benefit from this, and then have to make that moral decision. I don't want to be faced with that. So, but yeah, I mean, if I don't know, it is an interesting thing. It's very complicated. And that's why but I had never heard before. It makes sense to me, right? And I think about when you talk about how your muscles develop quicker under the TRT, and then your tendons and stuff, they don't have as much time to develop. And I remember that being an issue as a young guy when I started weightlifting when I was a kid, and how, a kid was, 17, 18, and muscle strength building huge, huge, huge. But then I would like blow out my knees and stuff like that and everything because the joints and stuff didn't seem to be able to strengthen as quickly as the rest of the muscle. So I guess it's the kind of that same logic.
Yeah, potentially.
Okay, that sounded like a no. Yeah, that was just
I don't know what your training necessarily looked like when you were young, but yeah, like a joint is.
I knew how to bench press because that was all we did then. No.
That's not like every high schooler does.
Yes.
Well, then the amount of labral tears that came from guys just trying to bench press. Like I see them all the time in the gym now. They're 45 and they're like, yeah, I just really did push for like my late teens, early 20s, and now I can't lift my arm over my head because I have a torn labrum.
See, I never had that issue. I didn't run into that one. For me, it was I bulked up so much so quickly that shifting would hyperextend the knees and stuff like that. And I think that just didn't strengthen that area enough because, like I said, skip leg day. That was unimportant. We didn't need to do that.
What age are you talking about right now?
At that time, oh God, I would have been, 17 to 20, that kind of round. And yeah, it was like typical gym idiocy. Just go in there and bench until you couldn't bench anymore, and then recover for a day and maybe do something else, and then bench again that second day because you recover like a superhero. You could just go again. So yeah. But yeah, in reality, none of that hurt me up top. It was the lower body that got ignored that got hurt. So it was the not strengthening there and then trying to shift that weight.
Yeah. I mean, I think like just in general, having a balance of strength is important. Like nobody can really necessarily argue that.
So speaking of strength, how's your training going? And what are we getting ready for?
This training's going all right. I'm just kind of hanging out at my gym doing the CrossFit workouts for the most part right now. Bike riding here and there. I was, thinking about doing another ultra marathon, but I ended up not doing that. I don't know. just kind of having fun.
Are you gonna jump in on any of the DEKA ones for Worlds this year?
I'm not gonna go.
None at all.
No, I just got like all the email like qualification things and
No title defense.
no.
Oh, that's all right. Now Beth can win that one.
Yeah. So you girl,
What one? I didn't.
Strong.
all of
You're gonna
them.
win the strong.
Oh, the
All of
strong. I didn't qualify for the elite strong.
them.
You're joking.
No, well, that's too bad. I'm disappointed because we would have obviously I would have liked to see you there. No Hyrox in the future. What about stuff like what was that? We're not Rally in the Valley with Thieves and Beggars. Wasn't
Oh
that
yeah,
you did
next
that one
June.
last
That's
year?
so far away. No,
Oh,
I've
it is June. Oh
signed
wow.
up for some Hyroxes next year, next calendar year. Um, we'll see how things are going. How I'm feeling. I'm kind of excited about the idea of like traveling and not doing a fitness event while I'm there. It's like, what will I do? Anything.
Do you know what's happened? Do you know what's happened here, Beth? She's
What?
happy. This is the problem. Happipiness is the end of the.
Yes, only us damage our
Yes.
doing.
Fulfilled. I feel well, I
Yeah.
am planning an adventure. I've got some hiking poles right here,
Oh,
but
okay.
that's only like, type 2 fun fitness hiking backpacking
Yeah.
trip.
Well, you're sounding more like Heather White with this. Like, I need to go do a 100-miler now for some inexplicable reason.
I must do it.
I get it. Like even just training for this Hyrox, there's a part of me that's like, I'm excited for it to be over so I can go do some trail races or something completely different. Like,
Right, just to mix it up
yeah,
a little bit. It's fun.
yeah,
And then not having like, that looming thing on the calendar that's like stressful.
yeah. I get it.
But I've definitely signed up for some stuff for next year. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited that it's still far away and there's a lot of races before it too. Like, I don't have to race this weekend. But
I don't get stressed about that stuff. I just get excited. I don't get the stress. It doesn't hit me. I guess it's because I don't care. And the expectations of me are so very low that it's I don't have anything to meet. So it's
well, here's the thing, and maybe this is just like a personal problem, but I feel like every single time I have to travel for a competition, my last patient, the day before I leave, like needs surgery that day. And I'm just like, what do I do? Oh my gosh, like I'm catching a flight, like now. So it's just very stressful. It's just like
or
all
there's a
this stuff
logic to
always
that.
happens.
There's
What?
there's a decent logic to that. All right.
Um,
Um, I had a couple other questions for you, non-related. Beth, do you have anything else about TRT or any of that stuff you want to talk about?
Well, your last question that I find it kind of interesting though, but
I asked an wow. Okay, go
no,
for it.
no, the one, well, it's I know it was meant to be funny, but I actually find
All right,
I
fire
actually
away.
well, the question that you said was, what's more dangerous, pickleball or CrossFit?
There you go.
Is there a sport that you find that you're seeing more injuries coming from? Pickleball is all the rage around here too right now. So.
And that came from I think you had a post about a pickleball injury.
I see so many pickleball injuries. So many. I don't, I have not seen like a CrossFit injury in a long time. Um, but pickleball, probably every day. I
Really?
think that it's a great sport. It keeps me in business. But everybody should do it. But I think I think it's because the barrier to entry is so low, and these
Yeah.
people are excited because they're seeing, like the older crowd doing it. You just go to the courts. I haven't played, and I guess you just go and play. And these people haven't done stuff for a long time, and then they go and their tendons and their ligaments are not ready for this. I see ankle sprains, I see broken bones, I see tendon ruptures. And I was talking to like the hand surgeons at my practice, and they're like, oh yeah, we see like, broken wrists, and like somebody else got like hit in the face, like in the eyeball with a paddle. Like it's insane. Um, yeah, I've seen at least, oh gosh, 5 to 10 Achilles tendon ruptures from pickleball. I was actually walking in the park last week, and I was just kind of like listening to an audiobook, and this person's like, hey, remember me? And I'm like, whoa, no. And then he like pulls down his sock, and he shows me his scar. It is like a guy Achilles tendon rupture that I did like a year ago, pickleball.
Oh my gosh.
But it makes sense. I mean, I think about it a lot like OCR, where in the beginning of OCR and everything, it's like everybody just get out there and do it. Just get out there and do it. Just get out there. And you have people with no fitness level whatsoever, completely unprepared, climbing up and down mountains, running down, doing obstacles they have no place doing, and getting injured. And then you have pickleball. It's like anybody can go out there and do it. Anybody can go out there. But as soon as you're not conditioned to do it and you're making those sharp, hard movements,
Hmm.
shit snaps.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. It sounds silly, but it makes sense.
Well,
Mhm.
I've always found too that people are much more likely to injure themselves doing like a pickup basketball game
Oh,
than
that's
they
terrible. Yeah.
are doing, because you do a proper warm up and you stretch, and then you just go out and shoot hoops with your buddies on a Friday night, and that's when something happens, right? Because you didn't really take the proper precautions.
Well, in fairness, any guy who has ever played pickup basketball is well aware that the rules of pickup basketball are all out full body contact. Anything goes. It is pretty much Thunderdome. You just two men go in, one comes out. It's just whose knee breaks first.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is men's pickup basketball. It always, at least that's the way I remember it, and which is why I do not play it anymore.
Mm.
Just all that testosterone flowing. You guys just go do
Yeah.
Exactly. We're all on the side shooting some testosterone up right before we go play pickup basketball.
Reliving glory days.
Reliving glory days. Oh my god. But yeah, like none of us can jump anymore. Screw that. That's a terrible idea. Your feet leaving the ground is a bad move. Yeah,
Hmm.
see.
so many injuries.
So
Hmm.
there we have established pickleball far more dangerous than CrossFit, which I think all the CrossFitters will be happy to hear because everybody's always telling them that CrossFit's dangerous, but it's not. Pickleball is.
I mean, there's got to be a study coming out about, yeah, like CrossFit versus pickleball injuries or all that. There's got to be. If there's
It's
not, I'm going to do it.
it's a
And I'm
natural
really
thing.
thinking, like, of the injuries that I've seen, not really many, if any, like CrossFit.
But in fairness, I would think if you were going to see CrossFit injuries and you're a lower half person, I would think the CrossFit injuries would be the upper half. A lot of shoulders, a lot of rotator cuffs, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But again, people warm up for a CrossFit workout.
Yes.
Like,
The
I
smart
don't
ones.
think people are going out and doing like a full proper warm up for their pickleball
Actually, I think that'd be funny, Beth, if we went and played some pickleball and just got on the side and did like a full warm up and
game.
and just
I
see how
would.
many.
I won't do anything without a proper warm up. I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I break too easily.
That's why I don't like getting up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. It takes 20 minutes to warm up before I
Yeah,
walk to the bathroom, and it's not convenient.
it's true.
If I got on testosterone therapy, then I would sleep better, and then I wouldn't have to worry about that.
Well, then what if you had BPH and you had an enlarged prostate? Then you'd have to go to the bathroom even more.
Like, why are you even telling me these things I may or may not have? This is terrible. Of nightmares.
Now Dave's going to be Googling this one when he can't sleep.
How do you self-diagnose that one? I'm kidding.
Well, we won't go into that.
Kidding. I kind of know that answer. All right.
And anybody that doesn't is definitely going to Google that and be like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, did I ever tell you, Beth? I don't know if I mentioned this to you. This is way back. So, how long have we been doing this podcast now? Like
Oh
4 years?
no.
Like
Yeah,
4 years or
okay.
so. So early, and I don't even know if it was on this podcast or other, but it doesn't matter. I think it was on ours. Um, the term came up where we were talking about what I was doing on the weekend, and I went to a cottage, and so we went cottaging, and so cottaging here means something very different than it does in the UK. And I was told by somebody what cottaging means in the UK. And see, you guys don't know either. If I told you I went cottaging, we were cottaging, that would mean I went to the cottage, right?
Yeah.
All right. So in the UK, you're Googling it now, aren't you?
Yeah.
So
Cottaging, Urban Dictionary.
yeah, go for it. Read it. Come on, Beth, read it.
What? Cottaging is a gay slang term
Mhm.
originating from the UK, referring to anonymous sex between men in a public lavatory.
So when we were doing our early
What?
episodes, and I said I went cottaging on the weekend, that's what the people in the UK got out of that.
That's what those Americans do.
No way.
Canadians.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh
Hmm.
my gosh.
So now you know if you're speaking with you people in the UK, don't tell them that's what you're doing. Sorry, that came up from the whole prostate exam thing. I just kind of rolled through there.
Oh, wow. You
See,
learned something new.
see, and we think Matt can go down different roads. Well,
See, well, the thing is, like, when you learn a new word, you got to try to use it in a situation. So I guess I have to use that word tomorrow.
Try to casually slip that one
it's
in.
do it next time you get like a British patient or whatever, and you're just talking, and you randomly doing the doctor bedside talking, and just we went cottaging on the weekend, and just see what the reaction is.
Yeah, we'll see. I have to kind of like read the room a little bit first, but we'll
No,
see.
no, no, no,
Yeah.
no. I think it's
Yeah.
better if you don't.
Hmm.
Okay, Beth, you got anything else about the applied topic?
I don't, and I'm super distracted now, so
Okay. All right. So there were a couple of things. Like I said, we were talking a little bit about Hyrox beforehand, and so I'm just going to put it out to you guys now. This weekend, yes, this weekend, Yancey and DEKA announced DEKA Atlas, and
this is
that was a
up
great one.
Alandra's alley right here.
I'm
So
curious.
what I want to know is, I guess a couple of things here. Is your curiosity piqued? What do you know? What do you think it is? Da, 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 that kind of thing. Fire away, Alandra, because that was a great reaction. By the way, you have the best facial reaction. This is awesome. You shouldn't do that as a doctor, I would think, because you need to be more like stoic about when you give bad
She
news.
wears a mask.
Oh, okay. All right, there you go.
It all comes out after work. Um,
All right.
well, no, I saw that post. I'm like, oh yeah, and then I'm like, oh, it's just a teaser. He's not going to tell us what it is. But I think from what I saw, I didn't. He posted a video, or somebody posted a video today. I didn't have my audio on, so I don't know what he said. I don't know if that
It
was
was
No,
more of the
it's
same.
no real information.
no
So
information.
It's
the
just
base,
heavier. It's
hmm,
heavy, and it's not for everybody. And that's
it,
all.
but it is attainable. So by that, I would gather it's not super high skill.
It's also the 10 stations still, you said, right?
Yes, yes. It'll be 10 stations. Yes. So thoughts? Okay, so I guess actually, first question is two questions is what do you think it would be? What would you like it to be? Hmm.
I
What
mean,
would be
I
your
think
ideal 10 stations?
Heck, you can pick a
I
couple.
I mean, if we want to make a competition that I'm going to win at,
Yes.
we're going to have a swimming event. There's going to be a fencing event.
You're doing modern
Fencing.
pentathlon?
Yeah, there's going to be cross country skiing,
I'm just,
shooting,
this might be a bit out of the DEKA realm.
hobby horsing. We're
Not.
into that right now.
Side question. Is
Yeah,
hobby horsing the biggest waste of talent for the amazing hurdlers in the world?
I think it might be, but it also might be a gateway to that potentially.
Maybe,
Like,
maybe.
I wasn't really sure if it was real or not, but I actually had a patient that does hobby horsing.
It's like Quidditch.
um, or like, what is it? LARPing, live action
LARPing,
LARPing
yes, LARPing, yes. Fighting with foams. All right, back to the deck.
Atlas. So I mean, I think that would be really cool to like, do those things. But is that realistic? No, of course not. I mean, like you said, it's going to be heavy. So I think it's probably going to stick with the theme of like those stations and make it each one more difficult.
So you think
And
like same thing, just kind of up and weight and whatnot.
I think so.
I hope not. I hope,
I also,
yeah, yeah.
but
Well, yeah, I'm kind of with Beth. I hope not to. But when you say that, Alondra, is that what you'd like it to be, or like, what's a realistic you'd like it to be? Because I mean, realistically, it's going to be gym based because it's got to be something for the affiliates to do. As much as you would like to see the swimming or whatnot, I don't think it's going to happen. Maybe some fencing, I don't know. But yeah. So if you were to pick out even like if I pick out a bunch of movements that you would think you would excel at that would work for you.
well, I mean, like coming from a CrossFit background would probably, be like those types of movements. But then that's also why I like hybrid fitness because it doesn't involve those things. So it's so like, you just if you do CrossFit, you can easily go and do those things. I'm not really answering your question. I haven't really put a lot of thought
Terrible.
into
You're like a politician.
But I realize I'm not answering your question. I mean, it would be cool if there was a barbell, but is that practical? No. And I don't think that would draw a lot of attention from people. Like, that would push people away. Like, that's too high skill.
Well, I think it
Um,
depends on
I
the
have
barbell
a feeling,
move.
yeah, I have a feeling though they're kind of trying to create something that's well, he has stated it's not for everyone. So maybe they are upping the skill level of things, but that are still easy to rep count.
Yeah, but I think if you put like a barbell snatch in there, yeah, you're gonna scare people off. But if you put in like a deadlift, yeah, and especially if it's manageable, like I mean, like I'm not talking like a 300-pound deadlift, but something that
Yeah.
you would do for like 20 reps or something like that. I think that
well,
wouldn't scare people off.
wasn't there what was that Conor McGregor doing some sort of like hybrid fitness race thing? Do you remember that?
Well, yeah, that never happened.
It never happened, but did you
Oh,
see like the weights and like what those things were?
Yeah, with like 150-pound sandbags to throw or some shit like that.
I mean, if we're looking at some sort of hybrid thing, I think it might be like that.
That's
Like those were intimidating weights. I was like, oh,
But
that's gonna
those were intimidating weights for you. When if they were intimidating for you, for a lot of women, it's just like, no, that's just not happening.
well, like you said, it's not for everybody.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true. That's true.
but
I,
then you're
I
trying to pull a completely different population of people. Like I think the goal would still be to appeal to like the typical hybrid athlete that he has now, and then just give them something else to try to train for. If it's too heavy for you, then it's probably lost on DEKA people.
I think
What
they're
do
gonna
you think it's
aim.
gonna be?
I think
Do you
they're
want
gonna
to? So
aim.
this
Oh
one
god.
from the Spartan Games. This was the DEKA heavy.
Okay.
Do you remember it? So I have the list here because I looked this up because I was like, would it be this? And I actually don't think it would be. So weighted sprints, weighted burpees, a sled push pull, so the same station, farmer's carry, ski erg, which that's not heavy, but pull-ups, rower, barbell lifts, and I think it was a deadlift, fan bike, and Zercher squats.
Okay. So that was from the second Spartan Games. I think the first one, because if I remember watching it. They had like a farmer's carry to start, a heavy farmer's carry, and I remember Atkins doing like his first ever deadlifts.
Yeah.
And then I remember there was pull-ups at the end, and I think it was a heavier ball and stuff like that. So that
Um,
I think it's going to be closer to something like that.
yeah. I don't think it's gonna involve a ruck though, because this one they wore a pack, I think, for the first two. I don't
Oh,
think it's
okay. I mean, I like it.
Do we know if it's being marketed as like a Deca Mile, Deca Strong, where like gyms can do it with their equipment, or if it's like an event, like one-time event? Do we know anything about that?
I believe this is being marketed to the gyms
Okay.
because
ooh.
the wording I think he put on there was bolt on, so easily bolt on for the gyms.
I mean, I wonder if there's a play or something on like, Atlas, like an Atlas stone.
To me, that seems logical. I would think like, well, okay, if you call it Atlas and don't have some kind of Atlas stone in it of some kind, or I guess it doesn't have to be stone, but
But
if you
what
don't
gym
have,
has an Atlas stone?
that's
They're
why I say
easy
it
to
doesn't have to be a
make.
stone, but like a heavy bag or something.
Your gym has them?
My gym, yeah, they're
Is that
sitting
we oh
outside.
yeah, you're a CrossFit gym. My gym does not have Atlas stones. We have
It's
slam
your
bars.
gym is your gym.
But
It
I'm a
has
DEKA gym.
it has Atlas balls if
Well,
you
you can
buy
just
them.
like pour them out of cement, right? And then you like, oh my gosh, think about all the foot injuries we're gonna have from people
That's what
dropping
I was.
these on
No.
That's
their
why I'm
feet.
saying I think
This
a
is
heavy
great, just
a
like
heavy bag
pickleball.
might be better. A heavy bag might be better. You
Yeah.
should just like hide outside the Spartan Atlas carry there. Like there's a lot of drops on that one. Maybe you can pick up
Uh,
some business. Drop the
Uh,
cards. Or you could tape them to all the stones.
your business
Your
card.
business card to all the stones.
I mean, that pickleball places and trampoline parks.
Oh,
Mhm.
I think trampoline parks would be old guys throwing their backs out.
It's a joke, right?
No, trampoline park, old guys throwing their
Do
backs
old
out
guys
all the
go to
time.
trampoline parks?
I've never seen an old guy at a trampoline park.
I used to
No,
have
they're
to
like
take my
little
kid
kids
to a
having birthday
trampoline park all
parties.
the time. And you always have to get out there and play dodgeball because you're on TRT and you need to play dodgeball.
Duh.
Anyway, so do you think it's a good thing they're ramping something out, they're doing something new, they're changing up the game? you know,
Oh,
or is it just
100%. Like
yeah?
I'm excited by it. That caught my eye. I'm like, did they say when they're gonna announce it?
No, nothing.
I don't like that.
Yeah, it's a bit of a jerk move.
Mm.
But I'm intrigued.
You should just message Yancey. Yancey, I'm very intrigued, but that was a dick move.
I should get on that.
Anyway, I'm excited too. I think they're going to do well with it or whatever. I think they got a good idea anyway. Do you got anything else for Alandra tonight, Beth?
I do not.
All right.
No.
Um, thank you very much, Alandra. And there's a lot of good information, despite the fact you keep saying it's not your area of expertise. I'm going to hold you to everything and may say it's fact. And if it's wrong, you know, Alandra's personal phone number is 519. No, it's not. But yeah, thank you very much for coming on. And you know, we really miss seeing you around. Well, hopefully, we'll be at some of the competitions you get out. I'm pretty sure we can still get you a last minute ticket and accommodations for Toronto. Time's still available. Just saying, it's not that far where you living. It's not that far a drive.
I'm in northern Jersey.
See that's like under 9 hours.
I know. It's really not
Even
that
northern Jersey.
Yeah.
I don't really know where that is. Well,
Northern Jersey.
Jersey and New York and all that stuff, it kind of confuses me. I don't know. They almost seem to intertwine all over the
I'm
place. I
like
don't know.
20 minutes from New York City, so
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it's about 9.5 hours. Isn't that what it took us? I think that's what it takes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much. We really appreciate you. And I hope to see you, well, we all hope to see you back out on course really soon.
yeah, I'll be out there. Thanks for having me on.